Alright, thank you very much. Hello everybody, it's your good friend Pozzible here, and I'm back in action with another look at another batch of movies that's coming to the theaters this weekend. Let's see who's worthy and who needs a little bit more practice here. First off, we start off with Planes, Fire and Rescue. You know, when the first Planes came out, it was kind of disappointing. The fact that they would make it a race movie, something we're all familiar with, something we've seen a dozen times before, even after Cars came out. You know, it just seemed like they were just trying too hard to repeat something and hopefully get just more money from hardly working. I'm hoping Planes, Fire and Rescue is different. I'm hoping Planes and Fire and Rescue would be what the first one should have been about, something different, you know, not just racing, but how about being a firefighter, you know? It's still going to have the usual believe in yourself mumbo jumbo. It's going to have the usual drama between planes and helicopters and stuff like that. I'm just hoping for better visuals, and I'm hoping for a better movie. So, and besides, ultimately, this is something meant for kids, you know? I mean, I know we've seen it all before. We're familiar with this. But the audience who this is meant for, they really haven't seen it yet. Because, let's face it, this is probably their third or fourth movie, you know? If I'm right about that. Even though, let's face it, kids are seeing hundreds of movies before they reach the first year, you know? Alright, next up, Sex Tape. Speaking of movies that people are watching, when it comes to Sex Tape, this is a movie that proves to me that I actually am smarter than I appear to be sometimes, okay? When it comes to Sex Tape, we got Cameron Diaz and Jason Segel who decide that they're going to spice up their love life with a sex tape. Of course, the next morning, Cameron Diaz wants the sex tape immediately erased. He says yes, but it's too late. It's already in the cloud. That must have been some cloud that they've got, because from what I understand, this sex tape is 3 hours long, and it loaded automatically. You know, if I take a very long movie on my iPhone, it doesn't go in the cloud because it would take up too much room. You know, you only have limited space. People, from what I understand, you can't buy, I'm judging this from the last time I worked at Apple, you can't buy unlimited space. You can only buy so much space. 3 hours, that's a lot of disk space to take up, even on just a device. But let's allow it. Okay, let's allow it. So it's in the cloud. That's okay. It's their cloud. They're the only ones who should have access to it. But apparently, they're on some group cloud. Group cloud. Now, all their friends and family are watching them have sex. Why would you share your cloud with so many people? You know? And besides, do people really have group clouds like that? I know my cloud is private. My mom's cloud is private. My best friend's cloud is private. We don't have a group cloud, but okay, fine. They made a 3-hour movie, and they have unlimited storage on their cloud, and they're uploaded the stuff, and everyone gets to see this stuff. That's fine. Well, now they want to try to get every single copy and delete it. Ooh, you know, this has kind of already been done in the movie Chef, you know, where once it's out there, it's out there. Even if you were to get this one person to delete it and this other person a cease and desist order, it's still probably gone viral. All these other people will have it, most likely. It's hard to say. And of course, this is where the quote-unquote hilarity ensues, where they're trying to stop people from watching their sex tape. You know, okay, I'll accept everything that I've just said. Here's where it gets me. Of the 3 hours, we're probably not going to see very much. You know, these guys aren't known for shaking their asses or shaking their bosoms in front of the tape. So expect a rated R/PG-13 style sexual romp where basically they're trying to just stop people from watching them humping and watching all the words and all the sexual dialogue and all the funny faces they're making. Also, Rotten Tomatoes has not been kind. I'll be honest, Rotten Tomatoes has not been kind to any movie we're previewing today. They didn't like Planes, but I don't think they really accepted it because, you know, they're adults and it's for kids. But then again, even adults should be entertained for those movies. Sex Tape, they said, just couldn't last. It just didn't have the laugh. It just wasn't very funny. So Sex Tape kind of blew it. Sex Tape, I was kind of on the fence about it. I like Jason Segel. I like Cameron Diaz, even though they really haven't. Jason Segel has made some really good movies yet recently. I liked the first Muppets movie that he helped make. Cameron Diaz just hasn't really found her groove again. You know, I kind of miss her feeling good. And I just don't think they're going to be doing anything worth watching in this movie. All right. So next up, speaking of something that's not worth watching, that's right, it's time for The Purge Anarchy. I have tried to be nice to these past few movies. It's very hard because it's very hard to find something good about them. You got couples running around trying to collect a sex tape that they made that somehow got out of hand because it went up in the cloud, and I think they're using the cloud in ways that the cloud really can't be used. So it just doesn't make sense why they would think they could get away with something like that. The problem with sex tape is that it's too late in the day. Time has passed, and we now know how the cloud works. People have had the cloud for a while. Now all of a sudden they're trying to make a movie about the cloud, but it's a little late. This one makes no sense whatsoever. I saw the first Purge. I hated it. I mean, can you imagine? First off, you're supposed to buy this idea that in the future, America has decided to allow one day where all crime is legal. No one's going to persecute you. So people go around killing each other. They go around robbing, raping, murdering, kidnapping, whatever. Because they got 24 hours. They know that actually, no, they only got like 12 hours. So you get like this little crime Christmas, and that alone is supposed to stop all crime for the other 364 days a year. Very hard to believe that. Very hard to embrace that or accept that. So that's the first problem I had with The Purge. Now here we have Purge Anarchy, where once again a group of kids who are trying to travel at night across the city somehow. Their car suddenly breaks down. Who knows how? It looks like they ran out of gas. Let's just say something more realistic happened, like the engine blew up or something. And now they gotta rush to to whatever their safe house is before someone finds them and kills them, because that's what people do during the Purge. You would expect that if it's time for something like this, you would just lock your doors, bolt the windows, and hide yourself the best you can. Put things out in front of the house where they'll just take them and go, but hope nobody comes in. And if they do, just blow them away. Heck, it's legal, And you expected a little bit more violence and all that, but it just didn't mesh. And it wasn't bad enough that the whole premise, the fundamental premise of the movie was stupid, but now you have the actual story of these people are in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a purge. Like, why were you leaving so late at night? It's kind of like, in the first Purge, they were eating dinner and they waited till like 5 minutes before the Purge started, before they were going to lock down their doors and windows and stuff. Why didn't you do that before the Purge started? Or even before dinner started. That's what I'm trying to say. The worst part about the Purge is, ultimately, I don't get what they're trying to be. Are they trying to be a social commentary? Are they just trying to be a stupid horror movie? What's the point of this movie? And they try to, I guess, make it a social commentary, because first they have, it's all about America, of course, and it's all about what a wonderful thing this is, and that is so forced. You do not believe a word coming out of these actors' mouths saying, I totally support your right to purge. No, you don't. You can tell by your voice you don't, And why are you being so nice to these guys? Why don't you tell them hey, why don't you get off my lawn before I decide to kill you myself for trespassing? Why don't you say, hey, I already killed the guy, now get off my lawn before I kill you too? You expect better. That's the real ultimate problem with the Purge, is that you expect better. And the worst part about it altogether is the whole chanting or praying or whatever these people do before they kill them. They can't just kill the main stars, of course, because they got a monologue, or in this case, they have to perform their ritual before you kill somebody. And it's like, guys, this is worse than when Katniss had that knife to her throat, and the girl looks at her, and all of a sudden just starts talking, while, this guy walks up behind her. It's like, you could have killed Katniss 5 minutes ago, but why didn't you? How stupid can you be? It's not just a question of how stupid those people in the movies are, but ultimately, it's how stupid do filmmakers think we are. Do they really believe that we would buy into this, that we would accept that, okay, the society has allowed that for 12 hours all crime is legal and everyone's cool with that? Do they really think we would buy into that? I understand suspension of disbelief, but these go too far. They really make me confused, because they're like, oh yeah, we're going to set it up so that, we have bullshit laws and people perform them in crazy ways. And it's like, you lost your audience. You lost me there, you know. And you're expecting either A, social commentary, or B, a horror. You wind up getting neither. You know, you just get neither. And maybe it's a commentary on this social conditions and humanity of what people would be like if they knew they would not be punished for what they did. Maybe that's what this is about. But they don't go that way. They just have this little purge. They have this little night thing where people run around and they beat people up and they kill people, and they all talk about how great the purge is and how, you know, what a wonderful time they have. But you just can't buy into it. You just can't accept it. You just can't think, yeah, I can see that happening. No, you can't. Not when it comes to the purge. The purge is one of those things where it's like, you know, I don't know why you think people would go for something like this, but, you know, you tried, and I just hope the purge, the only way it's going to get away is if people stop watching it. So I give this movie a pass. This is the must-pass movie of the 2014. I would definitely highly recommend avoiding this movie. So that's it for me today. That's all I can say about those movies. I'm hoping they're good. You know, when it comes to the Rotten Tomatoes and what their ratings were, Planes was not getting good ratings, but let's face it, it's for kids. Sex Tape was not getting good ratings, but let's face it, they just don't have good comedy nowadays like they used to. And The Purge, well, The Purge is not being screened for critics, obviously. Yeah, that's pretty much a clear thing there. Well, guys, that's it for me now. We'll see you at the theaters.